Fed up of wardrobes, driven to distraction and drowning with doom boxes? Tired of living in chaos? Welcome to Decluttering Untangled, how to declutter when you're overwhelmed, ADHD or autistic. I'm going to help you uncover the secrets to decluttering, no matter what hurdles you face. You'll discover how to declutter, de-stress and transform your world. I'm Heather Tingle, reformed hoarder, neurodivergent declutter queen, and your guide through the maze of mess. Let's get untangled. Hello Untanglers, and welcome back to another episode of Decluttering Untangled with me, your host, Heather Tingle. So today, I want to talk about something that so many people experience, especially if you're neurodivergent, but hardly anyone seems to talk about it. And that is the need for processing time when you're making decisions about your stuff. Now, having that time is so important because what I seem to see a lot of clients do is they say, oh, I'm really sorry that I'm talking this through with you and not just making the decision, but I need to talk it out. And from my point of view, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to talk it through and verbalize what's in your head. And I really encourage my clients to do that because it's part of the letting go process. But it also works the other way. When you're not ready to let something go, you still need time to process that too. And a lot of clients will say, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't let this go yet. And what I always say to them is, that's okay. Because maybe some point you will be able to let that go. And they know in their heart that they want to let it go, but their brain just needs to process and come to terms with it. It's almost like you're grieving for that item before you let it go. And that's a really important part of the process. So not rushing it, not forcing it, and not panicking about it. Just giving your brain the chance to catch up with what your hands are doing a lot of the time, because our brain works so fast, but sometimes it works so quick we get paralyzed by it. So it's really important to have the space to think it through and be okay with whatever outcome you come up with, whether that's save for now or let it go or keep. That's okay, because the honest truth is a lot of clients try and force themselves into making instant decisions, and that's when your brain doesn't work that way. Like, you can't force something, because every time you push that, it makes you feel like you've failed, and you haven't failed. You simply just need a bit of processing time. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Your brain needs that time to process what it's doing, because it took time for your home to become cluttered. It's going to take time for it to get uncluttered too. My scariest moment is when clients say to me, I'm not even going to look through this box, I'm just get rid of it. And that really makes me go, no, please don't do that. You do actually need to process it, because while you're the important part of decluttering is the processing of it. You are, I don't know, I want to say you're grieving for the item, you're allowing yourself kindness, you're reliving the memories, good and bad, you're processing maybe trauma from it, and that's okay. That's a really important part of it. And if we're being honest, our neurodivergent brain seems to do struggle a lot with on-the-spot decisions. We're either all or nothing. We will either make immediate decisions straight away, not always good ones, or we will take so long to think about something that we kind of tire ourselves out by it. And having a lot of time to think about something is okay. But when you're going through your clothes, for example, or you're going through, I don't know, a cupboard of decluttered decisions, you're dealing with a lot of things going off. So there's emotional attachment, the fear of regret, perfectionism, the worry about getting it wrong. And there might also be like time pressures and physical pressures, and also, pressures from the outside world on that as well. And there's also the physical tiredness that comes with making decisions, because you will get decision fatigue making that many decisions. So if your brain freezes, it doesn't mean that you're lazy. It means you need to take a bit of time and a bit of space to have a think, and that's okay. So when you're making those on-the-spot decisions and you start to notice yourself struggling with it, maybe you need processing time, or maybe you need a bit of a break from it. Because what happens is, if you try to force a decision before you're ready, one of two things usually happens with my clients that before they have me. You either keep everything out of fear, Or you throw things away in a panic and then really regret it and have guilt later. And you have guilt for such a long time and regret, which then impacts on decisions later on. So neither of those outcomes is a good, ending. None of those give you a calmer or decluttered home, and rushing will not work for you. So forcing yourself into decisions is not going to work. One of the biggest takeaways I want from this, though, today is I want you to know it's perfectly okay to keep items if you are struggling. There is no rule that says you have to be ready to let go of an item the first time you touch it to decide. And if you need time to process that and ruminate over it, then that is okay. And keep them where they normally live. So with like for like items. So I would really like you to keep them with similar items in that category, because that keeps everything visible for the next time you're going through that category, and it gives you a clear picture of how much stuff you have. I think that's really important. And one of the biggest mistakes I see clients do is have maybe piles. Maybe piles are a terrible idea. It's really tempting to make a maybe pile. I see it in homes all the time. And that's usually when it's been a black bin bag or a bag for life that's been shoved in a cupboard and other things are being put on top of it and you totally forgot it existed. It's like, oh, I was making decisions on those and then they didn't go. No, they didn't go because they were making a decision and then you didn't have any deadline to go back to it. Or if you did, you still weren't in a position to let them go. And the reason why you're still not in a position to let them go is you've had no feedback about that. So the problem is a maybe pile becomes a job in its own right, an awful procrastinated thing that you're going to leave until the time's right. But the time, let's face it, it's never right, is it? So it sits there on a chair or in a box or in a bag and you walk past it for weeks on end thinking, I should really go through that at some point. And then you don't. You avoid it. And then you feel annoyed with yourself for not doing the imaginary job that you never needed to do in the first place. So your brain will always procrastinate over tasks that feel vague or emotionally heavy. So if you've already struggled with it once, therefore your brain knows that you're going to struggle with it again because you've not had anything change in that time other than time. So what you need instead of giving yourself like another job to do, keep the item where it normally lives. And that way you revisit it all the time. You revisit it when your brain is ready to make a decision, but you revisit it when you're still thinking about it. Because this to me is where the kind of psychology of decluttering kind of happens, because when you put something back that you're unsure about to give it another chance, it's going to start irritating you. So every time you open that full drawer or that cupboard, you will notice it. You will move it to get to the stuff that you really want. You will roll your eyes at it. You will be like, oh, this is still there. I've still not made a decision about that. And every time you kind of get irritated by it, or the opposite, you're like, oh, I'm so glad that's here. I want to use that, or I want to wear that, or I want to do something with that. You're getting data back. You're getting that feedback, and that's what your brain needs to be able to make a decision on it. So I had a client that had a pan lid that did not fit into her pans, and she decided we said we're going to keep it because the other pan might turn up. I mean, she was pretty certain she got rid of the pan that something had burnt on it and it had gone, but she really wanted to keep that lid. But every time she opened that cupboard, it slid out and got annoying. And by the end of like the next couple of weeks, she was so fed up of this pan lid getting in the way of everything else, or picking that pan lid up instead of the one that fitted the pans. But really, she wanted to let it go. But she didn't need me to then convince her, because actually the next time I came a couple of weeks later, it's like, right, that can go now. And you just needed to process it on your own terms. And then the answer then becomes obvious. It's either it's a hell yes, it stays, or it's a, do you know what, I am absolutely ready for this to go. And you make that decision having all the information available to you. You know, I've had my own moments as well. I've had items in my wardrobe that I still now actually need to go through again, if I'm honest, where, yeah, this was the year where it was going to have a reprieve. Actually, I've moved on from that now. I've bought more items, which I really, really do love. So it is okay to let those go now. Like, I've made those decisions in my head that next time I'm sorting it, I know that it can go. Because not having it there reminding you is a really helpful stage. I call it like the irritation stage. It's not really irritating. It's just a reminder that it's there. You clock it every single time. And it's kind of like clarity in disguise. Those little moments of seeing it so often and still not using it, or still not really wanting it enough. And that slow clarity brings confidence to make a decision, because the more you allow decisions to come at a pace that suits your brain and a pace that you feel comfortable with, the more confident you become in making those decisions, because you start trusting yourself, you stop feeling guilty, you stop thinking you should be faster or tidier or better, because you make those decisions and you're all right with them. Nothing's come back to like bite you. You start realizing that your decisions are helping you have a calmer and happier home, and it's all good. And it kind of reduces that emotional whiplash, because let's face it, decluttering is emotional if you're doing it right, generally. Most of the stuff's got emotion behind it. So old identities, hobbies you no longer do, gifts that you felt you had to keep. So letting go isn't just about the item, is it? Let's face it. It's about settling your feelings so you can let it go without that horrible guilt and tug in your chest, because the time's past now where you've had time to process it and think, yeah, okay, I can let that go now. So revisiting an area after a few days or a few weeks or even a few months is okay. You will look at the same item and think, yeah, I'm ready now. And that is such a shift, because it's using that time wisely. So keep asking yourself, does it still serve me? Would I replace it? Would I buy this again? Will I ever use this again? Is it likely? Am I always going for the same things each time and that one's getting left every single time? Then when you can ask yourself, well, if it's being left every single time, what's the point in having it? You don't need to redo a whole room. It doesn't need to be a big thing. It can be a couple of items at a time, because that's what keeping them in with the other items does for you. And you will think, oh, I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm not getting things out quick enough. You're working at your own pace, which is a longer lasting declutter than a big blitz that I'm sure you've tried before. So I am giving you a Heather says it's okay moment, permission to pause, permission to give it a reprieve, because eventually you will let it go and it'll be great for you. So if you take one thing away from today, that pausing, that giving it a reprieve is part of the work. That processing time is such a valid step in decluttering. You're not avoiding, you're not stuck actually. You're more stuck if you have that maybe pile. What you're doing is you're getting more feedback and you're getting more data, and you're giving your brain what it needs to make a decision later on, which is going to be a confident decision that will last and feel good. So I hope that really helps you. So until next time, be kind to yourself, remember you're not alone, and keep untangling. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Decluttering Untangled. If you found anything that I've said today helpful, please do me a favour, hit that subscribe button or leave me a review. It's like receiving a virtual high five that keeps me going and lets me know that I'm helping real people out there and I'm making a difference. Please remember, you're not alone in this. I'm building a community of fellow untanglers over on Facebook. Just visit the show notes for the link to my free decluttering community. So until next time, remember, you're not alone, you're not lazy, you can untangle your life.